Did you know? The plans to make an Avengers movie began all the way back in 2005. Marvel Studios announced the desire to develop the film as well as standalone movies for heroes like Iron Man and Captain America. Marvel also declared independence by allying with Merrill Lynch, the wealth management division of Bank of America. This deal would financially help Marvel produce its own movies and have total creative control, eliminating the need to work with other studios. Under this arrangement with Merrill Lynch, Marvel had budgets ranging from $45 to $180 million for each movie. Marvel wanted to establish some of its lesser-known characters before tackling an Avengers film, such as Iron Man, who was someone the general public knew little about prior to 2008. Up until the deal with Merrill Lynch, Marvel didn't have enough funding to produce movies and had to license its characters to other major studios. This is why X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool belonged to 20th Century Fox and how Spider-Man ended up with Sony. Disney ended up purchasing Marvel in 2009 for $4 billion, and the deal with Merrill Lynch eventually fizzled out. The Avengers was originally supposed to release in 2011, but was delayed for a whole year due to Thor and Captain America the First Avenger releasing in 2011. Jon Favreau, the director of Iron Man and Iron Man 2, and the head of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, were mostly worried about how to properly incorporate Thor with the more human characters like Iron Man. Favreau said, "It's going to be hard. Iron Man is very much a tech-based hero, and then with the Avengers, you're going to be introducing some supernatural aspects because of Thor. The two work very well in the comic books, but it's going to take a lot of thoughtfulness to make all that work and not blow the reality that we've created." Feige's solution to this was simple: make Thor a little more grounded and based on science rather than magic and mythology. He said, "We're not doing the blow the dust off of the old Norse book in your library Thor, and in the Thor of the Marvel Universe, there's a race called the Asgardians, and we're linked through this tree of life that we're unaware of. It's real science, but we don't know about it yet. The Thor movie is about teaching people that." Joss Whedon was first hired to direct the Avengers back in 2010. He announced his involvement at Comic-Con, saying what drew him to the project was how these people, the heroes, shouldn't be in the same room, let alone on the same team, and that is the definition of family. The first contribution that Whedon made was throwing away the first script for the movie, which was made by Zach Penn, writer of the second and third X-Men movies. In one of their first meetings together, Whedon told Feige that the script was poor and that they should get rid of it as fast as possible. Feige and the rest of Marvel Studios weren't pleased to hear this at first, but they trusted Whedon's judgment and allowed him to come up with his own ideas for the movie. After their meeting, Whedon went home and wrote 5 pages explaining his plans for the film while also coming up with the tagline, "The Avengers, some assembly required," making fun of the Avengers Assemble slogan from the comics. All of the actors loved Whedon's ideas and script, with Clark Gregg saying, "The script was funny and still tongue-in-cheek and really got the Tony Stark tone of the Marvel Universe, and still furthered and explored each one of those characters and those relationships. I found out later from other people involved that they had the same reaction, like, oh wow, everybody gets to play and it's going to be better than anything we reasonably hoped for." Whedon's deal with Marvel gave him a good amount of creative control, but he did have a few restrictions. He had to include Loki as the main villain, a battle where the superheroes fight each other in the middle, and an epic battle against the villains at the end. Whedon also had to finish the film in time for a May 2012 release. Some minor issues arose, such as making sure every character got enough screen time, and he also wanted both Ant-Man and the Wasp to appear, but he had to cut them out because the film already had way too many characters in it. They were even featured in the first draft before Black Widow was confirmed to be in the movie. Whedon also had a detailed backstory for Hawkeye written up, but had to strip it out because of the time limit. During the early planning stages, Hawkeye was a circus performer manipulated by villains to fight the Avengers. They also planned a brief scene between Iron Man and a brainwashed Hawkeye as a nod to the comics where Hawkeye was tricked into fighting Iron Man. Joss Whedon was still changing the script as the effects team were making the movie's ending battle sequence. Speaking of which, the crew had extremely limited time filming in Manhattan for the ending of the film. The effects team created a near-complete virtual Manhattan for the sequence, which was used for most shots during the fight. They did this by creating a model of the city and projecting huge amounts of photographs over the surface. The original cut of the film was over 3 hours long, and a good chunk of that footage can be seen on the Blu-ray. Most cut scenes revolved around Captain America and his struggles adjusting to the modern world. The final end credits scene, where all the heroes are eating shawarma, was added at Robert Downey Jr.'s request. He thought his final lines about trying shawarma would be more interesting and funny if the heroes immediately went to a shawarma restaurant right after the fight. Robert Downey Jr. also pushed Whedon to make Iron Man the main lead. He wanted the character to be in the opening sequence and drive the main plot. Whedon tried, but it ultimately wound up not working because the Avengers had to be about teamwork. It was Whedon's idea to have Thanos be the main villain, plotting everything in the shadows while Loki did his bidding. He wanted the Marvel Cinematic Universe to have a much bigger antagonist to drive the rest of the movies after the Avengers, and all of the executives, including Kevin Feige, loved the idea. Whedon revealed this in an interview with Slash Film, saying, "Thanos, for me, is the most powerful and fascinating Marvel villain. He's the great-granddaddy of the badasses, and he's in love with death, and I just think that's so cute." Somebody had to be in control and had to be behind Loki's work, and I was like, it's got to be Thanos. And the executive said, okay, and I'm like, oh my god. The Avengers would go on to become the first Marvel Cinematic Universe film to make $1 billion, and the first film to gross $200 million in the United States on its opening weekend. It surpassed The Dark Knight's $1 billion box office record to become the highest-grossing comic book movie of all time. It was also nominated for 74 awards and won 21 of them. Make sure you subscribe for more facts and trivia, and if you like this video, give it a like. And if you want more blockbuster trivia, check out the Did You Know Movies video on Star Wars. And if you want to watch something that I made, go check out my video on Pokemon Typing Adventure. It has nothing to do with the Avengers at all, but it's funny, so please go watch it. And also, real quick, this movie is my favorite movie of all time. I'm so happy I got to voice this. Clark Gregg is my hero. #Coulson lives. Love you, dude. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.